Okay, $81.5 billion. Just let that massive number sink in for a second. It's almost too huge to even wrap your head around, right? It represents a level of wealth that feels completely out of reach for, well, pretty much anyone on the planet. But the real hidden secret behind this exact number, it's probably not what you think.
What's actually wild here is how it completely shatters our whole illusion of get rich quick, because that $81.5 billion, that is the exact amount of Warren Buffett's net worth that he accumulated strictly after his 65th birthday. Yeah, let that sit with you. We're always idolizing these young billionaires and overnight tech stars, but almost all of this world-famous fortune was actually made post-retirement. It literally flips the script on everything we think we know about financial success.
Welcome to this explainer on the psychology of money. Today, we're diving deep into the hidden, honestly kind of confounding forces of compounding and the exact survival mindset you need to actually stay wealthy. Because, as we're going to see, getting money and keeping money, those are two totally different games. All right, Chapter 4, Confounding Compounding. The thing is, our human brains are just not hardwired to understand the absurd exponential math of compounding. To really get it, we actually need to step outside of finance completely. We have to look at this mind-bending analogy from the natural world, specifically the billion-year history of ice ages on our planet. And this brilliantly illustrates what I like to call the Ice Age secret. You don't actually need tremendous force to create tremendous results. An ice age doesn't start with some sudden, cataclysmic, world-freezing winter. No, it starts with something super mundane, just a remarkably cool summer. That means a little bit of winter snow actually survives. Then that leftover snow reflects the sun's rays, which cools the earth just a tiny fraction more. And because it's cooler, well, more snow accumulates the following winter. It just needs a really small starting base to serve as fuel for all that future growth. Linear thinking absolutely fails us here. Exponential growth is so counterintuitive that we constantly underestimate what time can really accomplish. The quote goes, if something compounds, a small starting base can lead to results so extraordinary they seem to defy logic. Think about it like this. If I ask you to add 8 to itself 9 times, your brain handles it no problem, in a few seconds. But if I ask you to multiply 8 by itself 9 times, your head basically explodes. It's over 134 million. We just aren't wired to naturally grasp that kind of insane momentum. You can really clearly see this contrast when we put two investing titans side by side. On the left, we've got Warren Buffett sitting on a 22% average annual return over a staggering 75 years. And on the right, Jim Simons, the head of Renaissance Technologies, with a whopping 66% average annual return over 30 years. Simons actually had returns 3 times higher than Buffett, yet he possesses 75% less wealth. Why? Simply because he didn't really find his investment stride until he was 50. He started later in life, so he gave compounding way less time to run wild. Let me try to drive this home with another number. $11.9 million. Now, that is a perfectly respectable retirement sum, right? But it's also a pretty shocking hypothetical. If Warren Buffett had started investing in his 30s and then just retired in his 60s like a normal person, even while earning those exact same 22% returns, this would be his net worth today. Yep, that is 99.9% less than his actual fortune. You probably would have never even heard his name. So this completely reframes everything we think we know about financial geniuses. The real superpower isn't making these perfectly timed risky bets or having some unparalleled intellect. Sure, his skill is investing, absolutely. But his secret is just time. It's continuous longevity. It's like planting an oak tree, backing away and just letting it weather the seasons year after year, decade after decade. Which brings us to Chapter 5, Getting Wealthy versus Staying Wealthy. This is a much darker, definitely more cautionary part of our explainer. It's a sudden twist where we look at those who have the skill, who completely understood the math, but they lacked the time. They just couldn't stay in the game. It is the core dichotomy of extreme financial success. Okay, so you've undoubtedly heard of the legendary investing duo, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. But did you know that 40 years ago, there was actually a brilliant third member making investments right alongside them? His name was Rick Guerin. The three of them made investments together, they interviewed business managers together, but while Buffett and Munger became these massive global icons, Rick Guerin kind of vanished from the spotlight, almost like a ghost. Just let these chilling words from Warren Buffett sink in for a minute. Rick was just as smart as us, but he was in a hurry. Think about that.
Rick Guerin possessed the exact same intelligence and edge as two of the absolute greatest investors in human history. But his impatience, that became his ultimate downfall. He couldn't just step back and let the snow accumulate naturally. He tried to force the blizzard.
His devastating, basically true crime-style disappearance from the financial world all comes down to one thing: leverage. During the 1973 to 1974 downturn, the stock market dropped almost 70%, and Rick had used heavily levered margin loans to try and accelerate his wealth. So when the market crashed, the margin calls hit. Being that heavily levered, Guerin was completely wiped out. He was literally forced to surrender, selling his Berkshire Hathaway stock directly to Warren Buffett for under $40 apiece. And just for context, that same stock is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars a share today.
What happened to Rick perfectly highlights a really tough truth. Capitalism is hard. And it's hard because getting money and keeping money require entirely opposite psychological traits. Think about it. Getting wealthy requires taking risks, having unbridled optimism, and just putting yourself out there. But staying wealthy, that requires humility. It requires fear. It demands frugality and this absolute, almost paranoid drive to avoid ruin at all costs, just so you never ever have to sell at the worst possible moment. If we had to summarize the ultimate secret to extreme financial success down to just a single word, it would be this concept right here: survival. It's simply defined as the ability to stick around for a long time without wiping out or being forced to give up. Notice it's not growth, it's not brains, it is just the raw, gritty ability to endure the chaos without getting forced out of the game.
Actually, what's way more revealing than analyzing all his brilliant stock picks over the decades is looking at this list of what Buffett didn't do. Because this is his actual survival strategy. He didn't get carried away with debt, he didn't panic and sell during the 14 recessions he's lived through, he didn't sully his reputation, and he didn't burn out and quit. He simply never interrupted his compounding unless he absolutely had to. He just made sure he survived. So to protect yourself from becoming a ghost like Rick Guerin, you really need to adopt these punchy rules to navigate the incredibly unpredictable chaos of the real world. First off, aim to be financially unbreakable, not just the guy chasing the highest returns. Second, hold cash, even when it feels way too conservative during a bull market. Do it to prevent forced stock sales during a bear market. And critically, this is a big one, plan on the plan not going according to plan. Having a margin of error isn't some sign of weakness, it's literally the exact thing that keeps you alive when the unexpected inevitably happens. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to ask yourself this provocative question, which was actually immortalized by Warren Buffett himself. Are you risking what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need? You have to determine right now if your current mindset is built for temporary, fleeting gains or if it's genuinely built for true, lifelong survival. Because if you can just survive long enough, the math, it'll do the rest. Protect your downside and just let time work its magic.